What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Thanks for joining me again for a retro review. We're doing A Different World Season 2, Episode 3. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. So, we are at a point now where we've been there are two storylines, as always, We have Dwayne Wade and Ron entering in their entrepreneurship, and we see the beginning of the Walter Jaleesa saga. So let's start with Walter and Jaleesa. We start this episode off with Walter and Jaleesa arguing over curfew. Jaleesa is saying, listen, you are giving your boys a grace period where we don't give the girls a grace period. And what's happening is because you're telling the boys, hey, there will be no discipline if you come in at 1:30 rather than 1, but the girls are being disciplined at 1, it's a conflict. And they were like, let's get on the same page. So they're fussing and they're arguing. Now, let me just sidebar. Let me give you my little experience. I, of course, went to a HBCU where we did have a curfew. And they would lock the doors. And if you had to go to security to get in, then your house mother, especially when we were freshmen, there would be a punishment. I remember one time I missed curfew, honey. I had to work the front desk on a Saturday night. Child, I missed the party, girl. So that's the kind of, again, and these are the things when we start talking about traditions of what an HBCU is, that I don't know about predominantly white institutions because I did not attend one, but these were the things that and this is real. Now, what's not real is we'll get to the rest of what's not real in this episode, or wasn't real in my experience in this episode. So while they're out there arguing, Freddie shows up and she's got a package for Jaleesa. Now, remember, Jaleesa came back to school sophomore year with a little boo thing back in New Jersey. Somebody she had worked with named Eric. And Eric has been sending her these gifts and stuff like that. And so Jaleesa opens up the box and it's a teddy bear. You can tell that Jaleesa is like, oh, another teddy bear. Like it's like you're happy for the attention, but then it's like at a certain point, you're not creative anymore. And guys, here's a lesson for you guys. You got to be creative with your gifts. Like we appreciate gifts, but if you're doing the same thing every week, it gets a little stale. So Jaleesa, so of course Freddie being young and don't know when to say stuff and when to keep her mouth shut. She's talking all about Eric and how Eric has bought Jaleesa all these nice gifts and stuff like that. So Jaleesa was like, "Thank you so much, Freddie," and she goes into the dorm. They were outside of the dorm. So Walter, cozies on up to Freddie and wants to know all about Mr. Eric, asking, Freddie questions about who this guy is and how long they've been dating and stuff like that. And Freddie telling him, because Freddie doesn't understand, she don't see it. So you can see Walter was just kind of like, oh, okay, all right then. So on the flip side, we see Ron walking through the pit advertising his new wake-up service, right? He's got the pillow and he's telling people, listen, I'll wake you up. He's trying to get his little side hustle on. So Dwayne pulls him aside and Dwayne is like, what is this that you're doing? So Dwayne explains, he said, look, we're going to make some money. I'm going to wake people up for class. Like people are having a hard time getting up in the morning. That's going to be me. Now, Dwayne and Ron, Dwayne starts putting his brain to work and tells Ron he needs to come up with a better marketing strategy. He's got to come up with a name, and they're going to come up. So Dwayne has basically inserted himself into Ron's business, and they done made it a partnership versus an independent situation. So we see Dwayne and Ron going through the dorms, putting up their flyers, and so Whitley says, look, my roommate Kim is always late. She gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She got 5, because y'all remember, we'll get to that episode later on. Kim just doing too much. We'll get to that later. But Kim has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start her day. And she's got so many things she's got going on. And Whitley says, listen, if you can get her up at 5 o'clock in the morning so she's not running late, I'll go ahead and pay. Matter of fact, I'll give y'all an extra $10 if you don't wake me up while you're doing it. And she signs the contract, and there's a money-back guarantee. And, of course, Ron is like, a money-back guarantee? Dwayne's like, yeah, money-back guarantee. Now, I think they would have been better off maybe doing a percentage back, whatever. But okay. So, next we see Walter coming up into the dorm. Now, Walter got on, if y'all remember the show, Walter was the coach. And every time we saw Walter had on a polo shirt and some shorts or some sweatpants or something like that. But he shows up at the dorm, honey, in a nice little sweater for the 1990s, that little Coogee type, Bill Cosby type sweater, and some black slacks, honey. They look like they might have been corduroy. I don't know. They might have been some corduroys. And he starts talking to Letty about Jaleesa. And he ain't even slick with it. I mean, he is being so obvious that he is interested in Jaleesa that Letty says, you know what? She said, I was wondering how long it was going to take y'all to stop fussing with each other and start, hooking up, getting together, realizing that y'all have some sort of attraction to each other. And of course, Walter was like, Walter, aka Sinbad, in case y'all didn't remember. Walter was like, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should just shoot my shot. So Jaleesa ends up coming in, and Walter asked Jaleesa out on a date. Jaleesa was like, oh, thanks, but no thanks. So, of course, who's standing there to witness him getting shot down? Whitley. So next we see them down to the pit, and we see Jaleesa at the table, and Whitley, she comes up to Jaleesa, and basically Whitley tells Jaleesa, look, it's all well and good that you got a boo thing back in New Jersey, but that boo thing ain't doing nothing for you here. That boo thing ain't keeping you warm at night. That boo thing can't, give you no personal attention while you down here at school. And it ain't nothing wrong with you trying to see what the good is and what the bad is and what's going on with the Walter situation. And at first, of course, Jaleesa is giving Whitley the same thing that they always give Whitley. But then you see Jaleesa say, you know what? You see her kind of thinking like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Now, let me say this to y'all. And this is something that is not just for people who went to a HBCU. This is for all of us who went away to college. Y'all know, like I know, them long distance relationships, honey, most of the time crashed and burned. They were all hot and heavy in the beginning. You phone call. Now it's probably a lot easier to maintain a long distance relationship because long distance calls are free. You can call on your cell phone, and you can FaceTime, and you can DoorDash people lunch or dinner and send them Amazon packages. Like, things are easier to maintain a long distance relationship. But back then, long distance wasn't free. You had to pay for long distance calls. We were poor college students, so it wasn't like we had a whole lot of disposable income, and there was no FaceTime. You just couldn't see each other till you saw each other. So while they're doing this, we see Walter come back into the pit, and he tells Jaleesa, and he's cool with, Walter's funny because he's Sinbad. He says, I just came over from the library, from the history department, and what I found out was, he said, you have made history. And she was like, why? Because you're the first person to ever turn me down. And that's just, and so, of course, she's laughing and stuff. And, he says, listen, we've been friends for a long time. I don't understand what the problem is with us going out to dinner. She said, because that's a date. He said, I never used the word date. All I said was, let's go catch a movie. Maybe let's go to dinner sometime. And she was like, so you don't think that's a date? He said, listen, I know you got a boyfriend. I know you got a boo thing. All I'm asking is the two friends go spend some time together. Is that so wrong? So Jaleesa was like, okay, as long as you understand that this is a friendship situation. She said, how about 7 o'clock tomorrow? He said, 7 o'clock, that's after dark. Let's make it a little earlier. Let's make it about 5. And she had a class, so they settled for 6:30, something like that. He was like, I don't know, that's kind of close, but okay. So they end up going out to dinner, and they go to this restaurant where one of the entrees, you have to order a day in advance. It's like a lobster, some of them are something. You have to order it a day in advance. And honey, Walter done hustled the waiter into giving them somebody else's food so he could try to impress Jaleesa. And they actually have a good time. He ends up getting her to get up and dance. They sing it to Me and Mrs. Jones. That'll be important later on. We'll get to that episode. But they're singing to Me and Mrs. Jones, and they have a good time. And Jaleesa ends up coming home. And of course, Freddie being Freddie, honey, she is all up in Jaleesa's grill. Well, how was the date? Did you have a good time? Blah, 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 blah. Well, too bad. Mr. Eric must be on his way out. And Jaleesa was like, it's not, no. Me and Eric are still cool. Me and Walter were friends. I had a good time. I might do it again, but ain't nothing changed, okay? And then Freddie leaves to go take her shower, honey. And what Jaleesa started doing, she started singing Me and Mrs. Jones and started doing a little goofy dance that Walter was doing. So you see that the bud has started. The little they have planted the seed. Now let's get back to this silly Ron and Dwayne situation. This is the part that I said is not realistic. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, and you got Dwayne Wade and Ron Johnson roaming through a girl's dorm, coming in the room. The door ain't locked. They coming up in the room, and the girls in their room in their pajamas, and they are waking Kim up. They done pulled the covers off of Kim. You know, they're doing everything to try to get Kim to wake up. And I'm thinking to myself, we know that this is for giggles, because you know, like I know, that would not have gone down in a real not in my school. Okay, you see two dudes coming up in somebody's dorm at 5 o'clock in the morning, they gonna leave in handcuffs. Okay. But it was a funny scene because of course Kim would not wake up. It was very slapstick, very, you know, Three's Company-ish, where you got them trying to wake her up and she's like this dead weight, and they trying to do it without waking Whitley up, and they finally get Kim, look like they actually gonna get Kim to go somewhere, and next thing you know, her alarm goes off. They can't turn the alarm off. They are running around the room looking crazy, thinking it's like an alarm. Whitley gets up, honey. She still got her mask on. Whitley gets up, walks over to Kim's alarm, turns the alarm off, and then proceeds to ask for her money back, right? Funny scene. A very classic scene. So later on, we see Dwayne Wade and Ron Johnson. They done made $200 and something for 1 week, but they are exhausted. Because, of course, they're getting up at dark 30 to wake everybody else up for whatever their classes are. And in between going to their own classes. And by the time it was all over with at the end of the day, because they were trying to save all this money for a motorcycle, right? Dwayne said, listen, we got enough money to go buy some leather jackets. And we can buy one helmet and share it. And we can pretend like and lie and tell people we got a motorcycle. Ron was like, you know what? I love the way your brain works. And let's go and get some sleep. Because they had been invited to the Alpha party, or it was the Kappa party, one of them parties. And they was like, they can't even make it. And you know, Ron and Dwayne don't miss no party, honey. So it was a good episode. We definitely see the seeds for some future situations. Y'all let me know what y'all think. We're getting some really good reactions from these retro reviews. So y'all let us know. Keep it up. Let us know how y'all feel. Thanks for coming through. God bless you. Good night. What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back for another retro review. I know it has been a long time, and shouts out to the people who found my Falcon Crest reviews and were really enjoying them, and they were like, oh my goodness, when are you doing more? I love this. And I kind of fell off the wagon. I hope you guys are going to see me. I hope you find these reviews, and I apologize, but we are back. So this is Falcon Crest season 2 episode 19, The Odyssey. Okay, now where we left off was last we left off, we saw oh Lord, I lost so long, I forget the people's names. Damn it, Lance mama, child, it'll come to me. Lance mama was thrown, you know, was in a car accident while she was on her way to head down to the Algretti to meet with an informant, and Chase and Cole roll up on her. They see the car. They see the police. They trying to put the fire out because the car ran down the cliff. And they're thinking that Julia is in the car, and everybody is like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But then they realize that Julia was actually thrown from the car. She's up in the bushes somewhere. They get her some medical attention. They get her to the hospital. Cole was like, well, where's Melissa? Melissa is still down to the Algretti house waiting for the Giagretti, waiting for this informant to show up. So Cole goes to get her because they don't know if this person is dangerous, who ran Julia off the road, like what's really going on. So Cole goes to go let her know, listen, Julia was in an accident, somebody tried to run her off the road. She was like, what are you talking about? They said her brakes went out. She was like, what are you talking about? I take that back. Nobody ran her off the road. Her brakes went out. That's important. Let me fix myself. Her brakes went out. And she was like, I had her car yesterday. Her car was running fine. Okay. And Cole was like, well, I don't know, but she on her way to the hospital now. And so she goes to leave. He was like, well, did the person ever show up? And she was like, no, nobody showed up. I've been sitting here waiting. Nobody's here. So then we go over to Richard and Philip. Now remember, Philip didn't switch camps because he mad at Angela. because Angela broke up his little relationship, honey. Angela done punked him, honey. And so he's in his feelings, so he working with Richard. So Richard wants to buy up all of the grapes in the valley. And Philip was like, okay, first of all, that's stupid, because you're going to bankrupt yourself and bankrupt. Like, you're trying to hurt Angela, but you're going to hurt yourself in the process. He was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if I don't get nothing, but I damn sure don't want her to get nothing. He was like, she tried to ice me out before I even got here good. And so I'm not, she's not going to get nothing from me, her or Chase. Like, whatever I can make happen is what I'm going to make happen. And so Philip was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to use a broker, third party, because, of course, she can't ever know that it's me. And the other thing he said, he was like, okay, no problem. He was like, but just make it happen. So then we get to the hospital, and we have Maggie met down to the hospital with Chase. Remember, Maggie and Chase are separated because Chase is obsessed over who killed Melissa's daddy. And, Maggie is like, listen, you have put our family in danger. You are in danger. Like, this whole situation is ridiculous. Like, I'm going to need you to really get it together. And Chase, even after Julia Aston half died, Chase is still worried about who did it and trying to get information. And Maggie was like, you still don't get it, do you? Like, you still don't get it that at the end of the day, this is why me and you ain't together now. Like, why you can't just let this go and let the police handle it? The police done arrested you for tampering and interfering. Your son done damn near died. Like, I'm gonna need you to really chill out for a minute, right? So, Chase was like, that's not why we together. We not together because your ass too busy trying to be Miss Hollywood. She was like, whatever, bye, Chase. Like, I can't do this with you. Clearly, we would not be on the same page, and I can't do this with you. So, toodaloo, I'm out. So, so Julia lets them know what happened, that, she doesn't know her car, the brakes went out, she doesn't understand what happened, and she's scared, whatever. Later on, she ends up apologizing to Maggie, because remember, she gave Maggie a hard time, talking about, why don't you support Chase, and you need to be supporting Chase, but she went back to Maggie and was like, Maggie, girl, I was wrong, you were right. I'm so sorry that I didn't see what you saw and that I didn't support you, because Chase is really tripping. And Chase really needs to chill out. Like, Chase really needs to chill out. And Maggie was like, girl, I understand. I was trying to tell y'all that nobody want to listen to me, but I appreciate it and I understand. And I appreciate that you with me now, okay? So then, back down to the newspaper, Richard, Emma shows up. Emma wants a job. Emma said, listen, you promised me a job. I want a job. And Richard was like, I got you. We're going, the office that she wants, the office that he tried to give her, she was like, that is not, conducive to an executive like me. I want a corner office with a window. I want a computer terminal. Now remember, y'all, this is the early 80s. So a computer was a big deal. Having a computer terminal was not standard. Like, everybody just didn't have no computer sitting at their desk when they started a new job. But what we found out later on is that Emma studied computer science when she was down at the hospital, and so she kind of knows her way around a computer, and so she wants a computer. And Richard is like, whatever you want, you can have it. Whatever you want, you can have it. So after she left, Richard's assistant, aka his concubine, was like, we have like top secret stuff on those computers. He was like, yeah, and it's password protected. I doubt very seriously that she's gonna be able to break the code. Famous last words. So we go back down to Falcon Crest, and the sheriff just showed up with Lance. Now all of a sudden, the sheriff and Chase, the sheriff and Chase, they best friends again. They ace boom cools, because I guess, Chase done brought him some good information, honey. So now they questioning Melissa, because come to find out, the brake line on Julia's car was cut. And so they were like, well, you had her car yesterday. You said the car was running fine. Melissa was like, hold up. Am I a suspect? Are y'all trying to say that I did something to Julia's car? Because I will let you know that I did not. I didn't do nothing to Julia's car. I ain't tried to kill Julia. I don't have nothing to do with this, okay? So I'm going to need y'all to back up off of me and chill out. Just chill out, right? Now, while all of this is going on, I'm going to just go ahead and knock this out, because y'all know how I feel about her, okay? Chase's daughter, the redhead. Y'all know how I feel about her, okay? her and her boyfriend have decided they're gonna move in together. I'm not even gonna drag that out because they get on my nerves. Okay, they've decided that they're gonna move in together. He didn't ask for his wife for a divorce. So she goes to Chase and lets Chase know. And y'all know Chase ain't here for that. Let's be clear. There are a couple of reasons why that's not a good idea. All right. Reason number one. You are still a child. You barely graduated from high school. Hell, we don't know what you're doing. Do you work? Do you have a job? What are you doing, ma'am? And reason number two, that man old enough to be your daddy. Reason number three, he is married. Reason number four, he is friends with your daddy and they work together. Like, there are a lot of reasons why this isn't a good idea. But she's insistent. She in love. And you know Chase had to throw in her face her past. Because remember, if you go all the way back to the pilot episode, part of the reason why they even moved to Falcon Crest to begin with is because her ass was sleeping with her teacher and Cole went and whooped his ass and got arrested. Okay? So we already know that that's just not a good idea. But neither here nor there. She goes to Maggie and Maggie says, listen, I don't like it and I don't agree. But at the end of the day, you over 18, you're going to do what you want to do. And I think I think Maggie is of the mindset of, I'm going to let you go ahead and do it and figure it out the hard way. And I'll just be here when you fall because this is a disaster. But okay. And so, of course, Chase goes to Maggie about it to try to get Maggie to talk her out of it. And Maggie was like, what are you doing? Like, I understand that she's your little girl, but she's not a little girl. And she's going to do what she's going to do. Like, she's going to do what she's going to do. You can't stop it. You can't make it be something that it's not. So, make it happen, Captain. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I gotta say about that. So Richard goes to go check on Julia, and when he goes there, of course, Angela is like basically telling him, I'm not understanding, like, why are you here? Why are you in my house? Like, go somewhere and figure it out. And that's when she finds out that that Emma is working at the Globe, which of course Angela is not here for, because Angela thinks that Emma can't do nothing but sit in that room and play her little guitar and sing sad songs, okay? But Emma is reminding her, Mama, Daddy left me the Globe. He left me shares in the Globe, and it's important to me, and I want to be involved, and this is what I want to do. Chase and Angela figure out that Richard is trying to buy up all the grapes. And Angela is like, this is ridiculous. Like, he gonna bankrupt him and me in the process. And this doesn't even make any sense. Like, that's not even like a sound business plan. Like, that's stupid. But Angela now decides that she has to figure out once and for all how to stop Richard. So she goes to Philip and she says, Philip, listen, when Richard mama was here, you got some dirt. And I need to know what it was that you said to her, or why that dirt was so deep that she agreed to leave town. And Philip was like, I don't know. Like, I just told her that we knew that she had left Richard at the orphanage and who had adopted. And, we basically insinuated that she sold her son for money and status. And Angela was like, okay, well then, I tell you what, I need to go over to France. I need to go to this little orphanage. I need to dig deeper because I got to get rid of Richard, because Richard is a thorn in my side. And for once and for all, I got to get him out of here, okay? So Philip was like, fine, I'll come with you. Angela was like, nah, you good. I need you to stay here. Philip was like, I'll come with you. So that we can, maybe we can make it a 2-for-1. And Angela was like, oh, I thought you was mad at me. He was like, no, I'm over it. I think this would be a good time for us to, kind of hang out a little bit. And I was like, yeah, see, he's trying to get in where he get in to keep an eye on Angela and what Angela got going on so he can report it back to Richard. Because, of course, he immediately runs back to Richard and tells Richard what's going on. But while he's doing that, Emma is in her office trying to break this code. Right? Emma's trying to break the code. So they don't know Emma's in there. So Emma's in the office and she hears Philip's voice. Now, mind you, Richard had already warned Philip, Emma's working here, so we can't meet during business hours anymore. We're going to have to meet in the evening because she's here and, yada, yada, yada. So Emma hears the voices. But Emma assumes that Philip is there checking up on her, that her mother has sent Philip to check up on her. So Emma goes to her mom and was like, Mother, you just can't resist, can you? You just can't resist getting involved in my business. And Angela's like, what you talking about? She said, you had Philip checking on me. I saw him at the Globe tonight with Richard, and you got him checking up on me. Angela was like, I didn't. Nope, don't have nothing to do with that. Emma was like, oh, wait a minute. So why was he there then? She was like, Mother, is Philip betraying you? Angela was like, he doesn't have the nerve. But in the back of her mind, she like, maybe he is still mad at me. And so she was packing for her trip to France. So the next day, Philip shows up. It's time for them to get ready, get on their plane. And Angela was like, yeah, no, we good. Don't worry about it. I got my own, I on second thought, I need you to stay here. I got my own transportation. I'm going to do this trip by myself. And Philip was like, oh, no, I insist. And Angela was like, oh, no, but I insist even more that you keep your ass here and not go with me. Okay. And Philip sort of smells something's up, but he ain't quite sure what he think is going on. So he kind of, he locks that away in the back of his mind a little bit. But he sort of feels like, something's going on here. So while this is going on, we got freaking Frack, Lance, and Melissa scheming because, they good now. They together, and they scheming on taking over Falcon Crest. And so Angela is like, Melissa, young Angela. Melissa is like, well, what are we going to do? Like, Angela's about to be out of the country for a couple of days. We need to make a move. Like, what we doing? And Lance was like, listen, I got it. I know my mother. I know her better than anybody else. Trust me. I got this under control. So he goes to talk to his mom, and he talks to his mom about his dad. Because, of course, that is Julia's Achilles heel, is her ex-husband or her husband. Are they even divorced? And Lance was like, the last time my father was here, Angela set him up. And you believed her. And you believed her over him. And she was like, what are you talking about? I saw the proof. How do you know? He was like, because I went and talked to him, which is what you should have done. And I believed him. What he said happened. He was like, if he showed up, it was on the tip of my tongue. It was on the tip of my tongue. But he was like, if he showed up, like, would you consider, leaving with him? Would you consider getting back with him? And she was like, he would never take me back at this point. Because, hell, how many times do you have to reject somebody? And Lance was like, I don't know. Maybe I can find him for you. So Lance is looking for his daddy, honey, so that he can use his daddy to try to get his mama away from Falcon Crest. Because that'd be one less person he got to worry about. He ain't really tripping off of Emma. But that'd be one less person he got to worry about being in his way, basically, right? So now, while all of this is going on, Miss Emma has figured out the password. The password that Richard wasn't worried about her figuring out. Well, honey, she figured it out. And she is going through all types of tax documents and all kinds of stuff that Richard thinks he has hidden. Okay. So while that is going on, Angela has landed in France, honey. She gets to the hotel, and who has already checked into her suite? Philip. And Angela was not here for it. She was not happy about it. She was like, I thought I told you to stay in Falcon Crest. He was like, yeah, but you don't tell me what to do. And I just feel like my skills are needed here. No, that really proved to Angela that you wasn't no good, right? So Angela goes to the orphanage where Richard was, and she talks to the nuns. And this older nun, now remember, y'all, this is the early 80s. So gotta keep your timeline when we get ready to talk about what's getting ready to happen. So this is the early 80s. So the nun is like elderly, like her glasses was this thick, child. She was elderly, and Angela was like, listen, I'm here to talk to you about, Richard Channing. He was a child here who, was in the orphanage. She was like, yeah, I remember him. And he was adopted by, the guy that adopted him. And she was like, yeah, I know. And, Angela was like, well, I need some information. Like, what, Jacqueline, and what's the story? Like, give me a story. She was real eloquent about it. But basically, she was like, tell me the tea, girl. What happened? And at first, she wouldn't talk about it. She was like, nope, I ain't saying nothing. Nope. But she was like, listen, I really need this information. Like, can you please? Can you please? So this woman looked like she damn near on her deathbed, okay? So she goes on and finally talks about who, I think it's Simon, who this guy is that adopted Richard. Baby, come to find out the man was a Nazi. And everybody knew that he was a Nazi during World War II. He was a ruthless guy that killed a lot of people. And the reason why she had kept quiet all these years is because she was worried about her family. Now, if you go back to last season and the season before that, when we first meet Richard Channing, we know that this whole thing was built up about Richard being a part, like his family being in this organization, very mob-like. And if Richard, you remember his dad cut him off because Richard went against their wishes and how dangerous they are. And so they're building up this like secret organization of like former Nazis and people who think like them. And so that's what it was all about, because Jacqueline knew who this guy was, and Jacqueline was just as afraid of him as anybody else. And that's why Jacqueline got the hell out of town. Once they were able to trace it back to that orphanage, she knew it was only a matter of time if they kept pushing that they would get the information that Angela got. So now Angela is like, oh my gosh, this man is a Nazi? Whoa. Now while that is going on, Emma has found information and she's taking it to Lance. Now again, go all the way back in your memory banks. Remember Melissa's dad when Richard was trying to buy up his vineyard, and he was like, you can't buy my vineyard, and I know who you are, and I'm not afraid of you. I know who you are. I know what you do, and I'm not scared of you. Remember that? And he was like, and I'll tell everybody what I know. Right? Well, come to find out, Richard had been paying Melissa's dad like $25,000. Like it was like 2 payments of $25,000. Remember, it's the early 80s, y'all. That was a lot of money. Hell, I'll take $25,000 now. I mean, I'm just saying, I can't retire off of that, but I would definitely take it. Okay. And so now it's all sort of coming together that Melissa's dad was blackmailing Richard, and now they have the documents to prove that Richard was paying him before he was killed. Now Angela then got this information about this man being a Nazi. Y'all, it's all starting to come together, okay? I think we got a couple of more episodes in this season. So anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.